Hello everyone, welcome to the stream, nice to see you all here. To this late hour, no it's not a late hour, but well it's actually relatively late from my perspective, but that is not the point. There's a lot of stuff I missed in the last few days, you could say. I wanted to stream Summer Game Fest yesterday, but I tried to get my lore video done until like midnight or so, and then I said, oh screw that, I release it today anyway. And even today I put in like several hours of work still, so there was still quite a bit to do. And as a result I could not stream, also I should maybe deactivate the title there. As a result I could not stream it, and I thought, yeah, maybe better late than never. Also today came out a trailer of, what is it called? Oh, we have it right here. The Lord of the Rings Return to Moria official announcement trailer. So we maybe look at this. I already liked the video. It's very important that you like your videos, at least if they're not completely bad. And yeah, maybe let's jump into it, and then I can maybe tell you what I think about it or so. I'm not sure if there's any music to be claimed, so maybe I should just shut up and then we maybe look into some details or so. Yeah, let's do it like this. So this is the first trailer we watched today, probably the most interesting for all the people that know me from the Lord of the Rings and Tolkien content. What is your opinion on that? Yeah, we will look into this. So have much fun. Let me just see if production is okay. So is sound also an important question? Is sound working? And maybe also should activate the sound for you. Yeah, that should work. Okay.
The Forge's fire has long gone cold. Under the mountain of Durin's folk, a shadow took our treasured halls. Now it calls us back. Khazad-dûm! Speak, friend, and enter.
Spring 2023, so next year in spring. That's quite a bit away still. Almost a year. Let me just stop here. The music doesn't sound like it's copyrighted enough to get me in trouble into YouTube, but maybe I just pull it down a bit. So that was a trailer. I play again and maybe talk a bit over it now. So just in case we need to edit this, I can cut it out. Let me just keep the stuff out. So, okay, this is the new game. It seems funded, maybe, I'm not sure if it's true. Let me just double check if the thing is on best resolution. Yeah, maybe it's funded by Epic. As a result, it will be exclusive for Epic Game Store. I'm the hugest fan of the Game Store app, or the launcher itself. It's okay-ish, I guess, but I'm traditionally a Steam user, so I like that. Even though I also always grab the free Steam. Let me just check something. Here we see the classic, what do you call them? Black film bars at the top and at the bottom. It seems like in this scene they vanish. It's interesting. See, now they vanish. It's kind of an interesting idea. Because maybe now we switch into the gameplay from the cutscene. I'm not sure. So as it turns out, it's a game where here it says at the beginning, explore with friends. So for people not familiar with the lore, he talks about Khazad-dûm, and Khazad-dûm is the name for Moria, the dwarvish name of Moria. Moria is what the elves called it, means something like black pit. Actually not sure what the translation of Khazad-dûm is, to be honest. Or if Tolkien ever gave one. Could maybe look into this. My Dwarvish is not so on point, I have to admit. Let me see, is there an etymology section? Yeah, there is. The name Khazad-dûm in Khuzd-dûm means Dwarf's Mansions, I remember now, yeah. Of course, it makes sense because Khazad is the plural of Khuzd dwarfs, while Doom something means excavation halls, mansions, something like this. Okay, the Dwarven halls. Yeah, quite kind of interesting. Here at the beginning, of course, first I thought, I knew already that the Lord of the Rings trailer, so I thought this is maybe, like if you look at this, in this state, it looks like hot ore at a wall, maybe for mining or so. But I thought for a moment, I don't know, Mithril or something, but that is, I think it's called Ithildin. This is the Door of Durin, if I not remember correctly. It's very famous. It's even in the book. The Doors of Durin, it's even in the book, there's like a drawing of it that's pretty, let's call it famous. Maybe I can open it here. Well, let me just see. Not for profit, educational. Well, could bring me into, I guess it won't bring me into too much trouble, but copyright, well, it looks like this, basically. Here we have the symbol, that's an Elvish rune. It's Tengwar, actually, the writings here are in Tengwar. I hope you can mouse cursor, I'm not 100% sure. Can. Yeah, that's quite a bit of detail and lore to it. This here, for example, was a cooperation between the dwarf Narvi and the elven smith Celebrimbor from Eregion, which was, if you look at the map right next to it. And this is the Fëanorian star. Fëanor is, like, Celebrimbor is from the house of Fëanor, and this hints at it. And there's a lot of symbolism going on, probably worse than own lore video. Then it opens and we see the dwarves inside Moria. This must be more on the top because we still see the sun. I don't know, maybe we see the water falling down. Pretty nice, but here we see all the dwarven mansions, and yeah, it says explore with friends, so I'm out, no friends, nothing I can do there, but no, we might play this on stream when it comes out. Maybe if some people get it, we could also play together a bit or so. We can figure something out what we do. It seems like you explore, and this is quite interesting. You can build stuff, so it's basically like be in Moria, build stuff in Moria thing, which is pretty cool. Maybe the idea, like in the text here down, if we open it, it says it not, but it says it. The only survival crafting game set in the Fourth Age of Middle-earth, the iconic fantasy world created by John Ronald Reuel Tolkien. Find more on this webpage, which we could also look into. Probably the trailer. Good. It's muted. Quite a bit of text here. But yeah, it seems to be a cooperative game, I would assume. And yeah, it says the Fourth Age, so the Fourth Age, there are multiple ages in Lord of the Rings. As you're probably aware, Lord of the Rings plays in the Third Age, and at the very end of it, and then when the ring is destroyed and everybody sails back, etc., then the Fourth Age starts. And that is basically post-Lord of the Rings. That is what this means. There's also the Second Age. The Amazon show will play in the Second Age, though it might be a very compressed version of the Second Age, to be honest, by the looks of it. And then there's the First Age, which is mostly what is in the Silmarillion, though there's also a bit of Second and Third Age in it. And yeah, this First Age is a complicated topic in of itself. The most prominent part of the First Age are the last 590 years, but there's even a time before Sun and Moon were created, which started the years of the Sun and a certain aspect of the First Age. And before that there were the years of the trees, that was also First Age. And before that there were just years of the trees, and before even that there was the so-called Spring of Arda, sometimes online called Years of the Lambs, but that's not an official Tolkien term. The game looks like Ark Survival Evolved, but with dwarves. I would say Ark looks quite a bit different, but you mean just mechanically, right? I would even say maybe it's more like Valheim or something like this. And because it seems like you craft and you build stuff. Looks like a really relaxing game. There's a certain scene that comes up in a moment. Like, This is almost most bit like, I don't know, it's Minecraft. Kind of interesting detail. Maybe we should look into this. Is the terrain changing, or are these basically certain mining? No, it doesn't look like it, right? They just hammer at the wall and there just comes stuff out. I'm not sure if the wall gets smaller. You know what I mean? Like if maybe it gets smaller. Question is this just a particle effect, or is there actually the wall? Is there a hole now in the wall? Hard to see. Maybe not. Yeah, very similar. Survive the shadow. Yeah, the shadow. So it plays in the Fourth Age. As a result, the Balrog is gone. That's because Gandalf killed it, as you know from the Lord of the Rings. Spoiler, by the way. And however, there are still potentially a lot of orcs in it, and you have to retake it. So that is the shadow. I assume that's what they mean with the shadow. So there seems to be combat in the game, and you can drink beer and play dwarves. So pretty cool. Dinosaurs replaced with Lord of the Rings stuff. Yeah. Very curious. Maybe very curious how this turns up. It seems to be Valheim in Moria or something. That was my impression so far. So pretty neat trailer. Else there's not much to say, I guess. You could argue, like this guy here, he has like a helmet and his mustache is protected. Kind of funny. There's also a detail, this here, of course. I assume this is a dwarven female, which is of course not a problem. What is unusual? Maybe it's not a female. Like there's a certain aspect. If it's not like dwarves always have a beard. We come now to the beard discussion. Though, what do you call these at the side? Also, Relativrabe. Is it a German name or is it an English name? German made. Nice to hear. I'm also from Germany, but my streams are usually in English. Exactly what I thought. I'm confusedly curious, especially about the beer. I can imagine that. Speaking of beer, we have here a missing beard. So when it's I'm not sure, chat. Is this a female? She looks kind of like a female. What do you call it in English? Sideburns or something like this. I'm not sure. Maybe she has something like that. Possible. However, there is like a quote from Tolkien from it should be Peoples of Middle Earth or Morgoth's Ring, or was it War of the Jewels? One of those. It was like notes of Tolkien or versions of Tolkien published after his death, and he hints at that dwarves always have beards. When they have, like, there are, for example, cases where a dwarf would be shaved in mockery, but that would hurt him so much that it was, chops, Koteletten in German. They have to, whatever. It does not matter too much. However, in this explicit text, it's stated that dwarven females also have beards. Maybe can I find that one? Question is where I don't have my stuff opened anymore. I'm also doing some important stuff in the background. My one of my HDDs, my hard drives, has a problem. So I'm currently trying to transfer a lot of data to my new hard drive and replace it later. As a result, all the stuff on that hard drive is currently for me hard to access, but it should be on the right on another hard drive. Let me just see, where do I have it? Somewhere here. Which book could it be? I would guess it would make most sense for it to be in Peoples of Middle-earth. The reason is Peoples of Middle-earth contains older versions of the appendices, and I think it was in a different version of the appendices. I'm pretty sure it should be in here. Maybe I can find the quote, and we can also read the quote from Lord of the Rings, from Peoples of Middle-earth. How often does this word appear? Not that often. Looks roundabout right. Okay, it's an interesting statement. Where is it? This bootless. Can't find the statement, to be honest. I made like some posts about the dwarf beards. Like I can't remember the phrasing of the passage, and it will be easier to find because now we have all the. Information given concerning dwarf, which was preserved Appendix A. There's no difference in substance in the present text except the statement against the and that they have beards. That is somewhere here. Where's the statement though? Must be somewhere in this text, but I don't see it. Always the problem when you have to find something really fast and you don't find it as fast as you would have imagined. And now I've spent too much time searching for it. Why is it so complicated? Also, kind of tired. How was it phrased? Okay, I found an old post of mine. That is probably the easiest way. It's War of the Jewels. I'm in the wrong book. I can't believe that. Interesting. I did not expect it to be War of the Jewels, so I was in the wrong book and that's why I didn't find it. That explains a lot. I could could swear it was in Peoples, but whatever. It is here, and here I can finally read it. For the Naugrim have beards from the beginning of their lives, male and female alike, nor indeed can their womankind be disconcerned by those of other race, be it in feature, or in grade, or in voice, nor in any wise save this, that they go not to war, and seldom save at direst need issue from their deep bowers and halls. It's also said that their womankind are few, and that save their kings and chieftains few dwarfs ever wed, wherefore their race multiplied slowly and now is dwindling. So yeah, they look point is they look pretty similar. Usually they should look like male dwarfs, basically. But I can see why they don't do this. In Lord of the Rings, there's a statement by Gimli that you can't, that other, like elves or so, can't differentiate between those, and that's why elves think that they jump out of stone or get born out of stone. But that's not the case. So sorry for this long thing here. Isn't there a mentioned in the second film that dwarf women always have beards? Yeah, exactly. In the films, there's also a mention, like I think Gimli tells this when they're going over to what's it called? Helm's Deep, of course. In the Two Towers, when I don't know, he's on his horse and he tells a joke, and then I think Gimli's horse just walks and he falls off his horse or something. You remember this scene? It seems though they maybe gave the females at least chops or whatever it's called. So sorry for this long break here. I could swear it was in Peoples of Middle-earth. It was not. Yeah, so it seems like there are orcs. This is the design of the orcs. They look pretty reminiscent of orcs. Maybe, I would say their cleaver that they're wearing here is somewhat reminiscent of what we know from the films. So the films were accurate on this. Yeah, kind of, I guess. It's the story that Gimli tells is really from the Appendix A. Let me just I'm not sure if I find that fast. Like, you have seen how long it took me to find the other one. I'm not sure where it stands. I'm pretty sure it's Appendix A. If somebody knows, can maybe post a hint in chat. I think I found it. It says in Appendix A of The Lord of the Rings, page 1080, in case you wonder, it's the mention of Thorin Oakenshield's sister, Dís. Dís was the daughter of, I pronounce him in Old Norse, Throin the second, also some might pronounce him Thrain or Thrain the second. She is the only dwarf woman named in these histories. It was said by Gimli that there are few dwarf women, probably no more than a third of the whole people. They seldom walk around except at great need. They are in voice and appearance and in garb, if they must go on a journey, so like the dwarf men that the eyes and ears of other peoples cannot tell them apart. This is given rise to the foolish opinion among men that there are no dwarf women and that dwarves grow out of stone. So that is exactly what is also told in the films, in case you wonder. Pretty happy that I found this relatively fast. Okay, so yeah, this is the trailer. You can drink beer. It's pretty nice. I did not expect this game at all, to be honest. It is really a pleasant surprise, I have to say, because it's kind of cool to see something like a new Lord of the Rings related game. Awesome. We also have the Gollum game, which comes up, I think, in September as well. Or is it in August? To be honest, I can't remember. I think it comes 1st September, one day before the series the Amazon series comes out. I'm not sure. But yeah. So yeah, the films definitely correctly reference this story. However, there is a version, I should also hint at this. Last year a book came out called The Nature of Middle-earth, and there's like a letter, or not a letter, yeah, there's a answer of Tolkien to fan question or interview question or whatever it was, published. I think it was a fan letter or a letter to him, and he answered that, and it was about how certain characters look in the game. And there he made a footnote in it, and there he basically says something like that elves have in general no beards, which is there's an exception, but he doesn't mention it here. And he also words it like all dwarf males have beards, but he doesn't mention the females in this sentence. So it sounds like only the dwarf males have beards, and that he maybe changed his mind. Some people interpret this statement as he maybe changed his mind later in the late 60s, 70s. This letter is really this text was really late from his life. He died 1973, so I think this letter was from the 70s or so from the last few years of his life. So very late stuff of Tolkien. However, in my opinion, he also doesn't mention elves having beards, and there's, for example, Círdan in the books, or the father of Fëanor's wife. Machtan is his name. He also has a beard, but as elf, it's kind of... Exceptions exist, of course, but the main question was about how does Aragorn have a beard, basically. And no, he has no beard. So there the films are not correct, but I don't mind, to be honest. So yeah, are there any questions left regarding this trailer? I will definitely try this game out when it comes out, because I like Lord of the Rings stuff, as you probably have already noticed. And it looks kind of fun, interesting, and I said maybe we could play it with a few people here from chat or so. If that is possible, we have to figure that out, if that works or not. Else, I just, played a little bit. Looks kind of cool. As said, the female should have a beard, though, in my opinion. But it's, currently some debate was going on this topic, particularly. I don't mind if they don't have beards. Beyond that, I didn't see too much stuff in it that looked interesting. Like this, or here, like Moria was a place where I guess also other riches could be mined, but mostly it was known for Mithril. And that was where its wealth was in. We also saw like some bridges in the background, like you remember some of the Moria scenes, of course. And here. I don't know. Like this stuff here looks a bit it looks like a bit they took at least decently inspiration from the films, maybe, from the Peter Jackson films, which is great, I think. Because visually I like the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings films quite a bit. And as said, the orcs look pretty orcish. A good time for Lord of the Rings content this and next year. It could be, for sure. There could be a really good opportunity for Lord of the Rings content. Like, I hope it will be good content, or I hope especially the interest might spike in this topic again. Because, I don't know, currently it feels a bit dwindling a bit, but might have other reasons. We have a YouTube channel that mainly does Lord of the Rings and Tolkien stuff. It's of course awesome that something like this happens. And of course it can bring in new people to the fandom of Lord of the Rings and so on. That would be pretty awesome. Like, I also became a fan of Lord of the Rings by watching Peter Jackson's films when they came out. Then started reading the books. I hope or could imagine like games, or especially the series of Amazon or so, if it's at least decently good, might do the same, even though there are some parts of it that are not accurate, if that makes sense. As said, shall we move on to the next trailer? I want to still say sorry for taking so long to find that one quote. It's always a bit unfortunate if you have to stare at the screen, nothing happens. And I'm looking for the quote for 5 minutes, but I saw the films first, interesting. I always had some friends in school that were fans of the books, but I haven't read them yet. I'm not sure how old was I, 2001, 16 or something. So, something like that. And then I watched the films and then I started reading the books. So Lord of the Rings first. Later I also checked The Hobbit. And then even later, definitely a couple of years later, I looked into Lord of the Rings, and since 2017 or so, I do Lord of the Rings content on YouTube. Somewhat, wouldn't say I'm definitely not the most successful YouTube dude, but definitely decent at it, right? For people interested in that, there is like a lot of in-depth stuff when it comes to talking. But you have to like rolled R's, because I go for the pronunciation in Appendix E of the Lord of the Rings. And there Tolkien states that that the R is a trill. So it's not Moria or Moria, it's Moria. So it's rolled. Sauron. With most words, it's not that unpleasant. Yeah, often I hope that people here on Twitch watching don't know me from YouTube, so I get maybe a few new viewers, but thank you, much appreciated. Glad you like the lore content there. Yeah, a lot of work went into last video. It might not look like much, but it really took forever to edit. Like, I thought I would be done Monday or Tuesday, maybe Wednesday if everything goes wrong, and today's Friday and I just released it a couple of hours ago. And I basically released it right away after I was done with everything. Of course, I had to make a thumbnail after that and so on, but yeah, it took a lot. Edit this video was really tough to make. There were also some small mistakes. There's still a mistake in there. For example, I say that what was his name again? It's a very rare used name. It starts with an M. King of Gondor. Let me just think about it. Minardil, I think. Yeah, Minardil is the name. Yeah, I say that. I say in the video something like that. That King Telomechtar is a son of Minardil. The reason for that is that it actually states that in the Appendix A that it's his son. It's really strange. That confused me also. Like some. The second and greatest evil came upon Gondor in the reign of. No, I think that's the wrong. Is it the wrong one? Yeah, no, it's the right one. Telemnar, the sixth. Let me read again. The second and greatest evil came upon Gondor in the reign of Telemnar, the 26th king, whose father Minardil, son of Eldakar, was slain. Basically, yeah, that confused me greatly, because it says Minardil, son of Eldakar, but Eldakar is not the son of Minardil. In another section, that you notice that there are some people there that kind of confused me, and I somehow also made a mistake with Telomechtar, which is his great-grandson or something like this, and Eldakar is also like the great-grandfather of Minardil, whatever. It's confusing in this section, that's why this mistake happened in the video. In case people wonder, I made a correction note in the video itself. Oh, you can't see anything anymore. That is not good. So that was, yeah, as said, the thing here. We have the Door of Durin, we talked about that. Else, I don't know, if there are any questions, be it somewhat related to this or other stuff, feel free to ask. Else, I would just skip to the next stuff we might look into. Let me just see how I do this here in the background, to be honest. I like listening to your videos, like podcasts, while also working on something. Yeah, I get this a lot. Some people even listen to it to sleep. I'm not sure if that's a compliment. Kind of, I guess it is kind of, but because I just want to say it's pleasant to listen and not too stressful. So you can listen to it while it's going to sleep or working. But of course, also in some of the visual stuff goes like quite a bit of work. Like all the map stuff I did for this was pretty extensive. Like the maps are also full of colors this time and dotted lines going somewhere. Those take, I wouldn't say a lot of time, but eat quite a bit of time at times. Or the marking areas. That takes a really long time because I have to do research on how big the area was, and sometimes it's not really defined 100%. As a result, yeah, I have to make something up. Yeah, the keyframing, yeah, exactly this. So I have to basically put little vertices and mark the area in a certain color. So let me see. Maybe I can open my video. Maybe I can show you a few scenes or so out of it. Muted so we don't have to listen to me twice. But yeah, you saw already. Some of the later maps are kind of wild. Like there's a lot of stuff going on. Like in the program and I use Adobe Premiere to edit. I basically take like a text field, make it transparent a bit, and then I have to basically set little dots and outline the whole area. That takes like forever, especially these coastlines here. If you do it somewhat, sometimes I say yeah, just screw it. But making this stuff really takes some time. Then these little lines that move from A to B. We have something, yeah, we have this little dotted line. Very proud of it. I do this in After Effects, by the way. Found it to be relatively fast. Pretty decent stuff here. Yeah. Gondor also takes a moment to cut out. And then these border lines here that they don't overlap and so on. It took quite some time to do this. I now have some of the stuff saved, so I can reuse it. Like I think this stuff I already had in the last video, so I could reuse it or something. I forgot. This kind of works, but sometimes I'm not sure. For example, Angmar was new, and I did started doing research on how big is Angmar. Not sure if it goes to here or maybe ends here. Really hard to say. It's not really defined, the north regions here, so I just cut them off. It's just roundabout. Size of Gondor also varies. Sometimes it goes here, sometimes it goes even down to Umbar. Difficult stuff. But yeah, let's check the next trailer thing. You remember this guy? This is Jeff Keighley, and he has a show called the Summer Game Fest. So of course, first we like the video. I already while editing, I watched it a bit in parallel, so I already know it a bit. Don't want to go through the whole show because I would just go through some highlights, which starts here. America's Hero is back. Let me just see in the background if I might be able. Oh no, this is this. Don't want to spoil too much. Is this a complete trailer? Yeah, it's a complete trailer we saw here. The reason why we I watch it separately, so can maybe we can maybe have it in a better resolution or so. Oh, it even has a 4K version. You won't see 4K. I only stream 1080p, but yeah. We already looked we watched the state of play there. They also revealed a bit of gameplay first. I'm not sure if there's music. There might be music. Maybe you make it like last time. I play through it, I shut up for a moment. It did not get claimed, interestingly, then we talk over it without sound. So I shut up for a moment.
You won't know what hit you.
Let me have some fun.
Let's get this mission started. This will be a good fight. Got you in my sights. Neutralized. Predictable. Time you end this. Fire! Double! Seven! I'm just on another level.
Okay, that was the trailer to Street Fighter 6, and we got a new, like, there was some leaks going on with characters that might be in the game. This was, I assume it's pronounced Guile. Like in Germany, when I played as a kid Street Fighter 2 or something, I always asked myself, how is this guy pronounced? Like, how is his name pronounced? There was no voice over on the Super Nintendo game, and of course there were a bit of voice, like Ryo always said Hadouken and Shoryuken and stuff like this, but he never said his name, so we always guessed maybe it was Jules, maybe it was I don't know what. But some also in school said his name it would be pronounced Guile, and I assume this is actually how it pronounced it. Kind of fascinating. Yeah, so pretty cool to see. Classic stage. Like we have the I think it's on an aircraft carrier. It's either like a, what's it called, a base, like an whatever you call the air stuff. An air base, I assume is the name. This time it's on an aircraft carrier. Doesn't matter too much. Looks kind of cool, I have to say. His hair's still the classic. He now has a beard, which is kind of new. And he has a, I don't know, a smartwatch or something, checking his training routine or so. It's kind of funny. I'm not too. I like watching Street Fighter. Maybe I should this mention, but I'm not a Street Fighter player myself, really. But I really like watching competitively, so I have at least a bit of knowledge of the game. I played it as a kid, a bit of course, and later also a little bit. Yeah, this is the double low thing. I think it's just down and then heavy kick, but it's always like we always liked this attack as a kid. I don't know why. I think it's relatively unsafe. If the enemy blocks it, I think they can really punish you. Speaking of punish, there is one. There's the flash kick, of course. The classic is in it. What is interesting, I'm not sure how it was in previous Street Fighter iterations, but in Street Fighter 5 they implemented the V gauge. There was the Sonic Boom, by the way. That is his projectile that he can use. Here was the EX version of it from a moment ago, and this version here is I think from Street Fighter 6. I'm not sure if it was in some iteration in a previous Street Fighter, like in Third Strike or whatever. Not too familiar with those, sadly. And yeah, he could basically make the Sonic Boom and then basically trigger it by a second one that just stays in a certain place and then attacks it. We also saw this here, so this almost looks like V-Trigger. I think now, this was maybe his super? I'm not sure. I'm kind of confused. Here we have an armor move, which is interesting. This is maybe the V-Trigger. This seems to be the V-Trigger. And now he can basically shoot out multiple of those Sonic Booms. But now usually you could shoot, I think you shot one after another and you could shoot them really fast. Now it seems like if you shoot one, you'd shoot like a whole barrage of them. And you have maybe 2 stacks of these, or 2 barrages or so. This seems to be the new super, though. I'm not sure. So we have to see. It seems like the fighting system is a bit different this time. I think it's called Overdrive or whatever. And it exists like you can basically apply different functionality to it. It's a bit, what is it called in Guilty Gear? I played a bit of Guilty Gear when it came out. Forgot the name again. Guilty Gear Strive, that is. was it called? Somebody, do we have by any chance any any players, Guilty Gear players? Yeah, I forgot. What was it called? Can't remember. Guilty Gear. Maybe I should just. Roman Council, that I think is a word. So in Guilty Gear you had the Roman councils, and depending on what different directional inputs for them, I think, and you could do, like, one was a reversal, one was basically an offensive one where you could basically slow down the time and then add another combo and so on. I assume they do something similar here in Street Fighter now. Kind of interesting to see. And yeah, looks pretty cool, I guess. It also comes next year, so it's relatively far off still. If we jump back to this, so this was the first trailer. Oh, the next trailer. What kind of game was that? Was this Call of Duty? No, it was the Alien thing. What was it called? Alien Dark Descent? Descent? Oh, that's pronounced. Completely wrong. Could maybe look later into the other thing. Let me just shut up for a moment.
Sergeant Leo Alvarez of the CM Leth Recon Squad. Our mission was to enter the Tantalus base, locate the comsat relay, and bring it back online. We found the relay, but there was a problem.
Get that door closed now, Private. Close that gate. Nothing gets in here. Ray didn't make it.
At least he's in one piece.
Willis, take the lead.
Oh, this ain't good.
What we found was a new kind of evil. And it found us first.
What the?
This wasn't human.
Retreat! Retreat! Willis! Open fire! Go! 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 Alvarez! Through that door! Hold that door, Sergeant! Son of a...
RIP.
I don't know what I saw in there. But I know when I close my eyes, I still see it. Now everyone's dead. And someone needs to know.
So, new Alien game, surprise. Kind of interesting. It consults the Cambridge Dictionary.
Descent.
Descent, okay. Focus on the eye. Kind of interesting. Not much to say about it though. We don't know what kind of game it is. I think. In 20th Century Fox Games. It's interesting. 20th Century was bought by Disney, so is this part of Disney? Not sure. Indelos, Focus and Focus Entertainment. Not sure if it's pronounced Focus or Focus. It's I think a French publisher. Multi-platform title. Okay, I did so many. Let's not talk about my typing ability here. What was the domain? aliendarkdescent.com? Did I type wrong? Probably everything. Aha, now it works. Publisher. Command a squad of hardened colonial marines to stop a terrifying xenomorph outbreak on Moon Lethe, whatever it's pronounced. Lead soldiers. Okay, this here looks a bit like a tactical RPG, to be honest. Whatever you call it, like XCOM or something, which would make sense, kind of, I guess. What tactics? Let me see. Is it in Steam already? Usually for Steam there's like a genre. It's an action strategy game, so it's a tactic RTS. Interesting. Well, good to know. So that was that game. Next is... Oh, we already saw the trailer from the next game. By Crafton. World premiere. Already know this too. Callisto Protocol. I should search it here on a different browser, just convenience. GameSpot. No, it's on the official page that they have.
2023 to console and
Is there maybe a version without? Oh, here's a... It was... some commercial stuff here. Always like a trailer. When I first saw this on the Xbox, PlayStation State of Play, I thought this would also be an Alien game.
Take a look outside.
Like this shot here looks very Alien-esque. You know what I mean?
The dead moon. Dead. Just like you would have been if I had.
Also, there's kind of a bit of gore in it, in case you are sensitive to that.
So whatever you're holding on to right there, that's your old life. You gotta let that go. Because
But yeah,
your
now comes the scene in a moment.
is entirely in my hands.
This scene here. And then I thought, okay, is this the new Dead Space or so? Because Dead Space also did this fascinating trick with it. Had no HUD, but for example your health bar would be this here at the back of the player thing and so on. So I got kind of a bit of Dead Space vibes here. Setting and so on, everything looking gritty and dark, sometimes a bit alien-esque. But it's just, interestingly, the person who makes this also made Dead Space, or at least the first Dead Space. And he has now his own studio and does more Dead Space games named differently. And then it's kind of a bit of gory.
I just love that last part. Gives me chills every time.
This stomping here also pretty much it's unpleasant. The gore is really intense. But the stomping is also pretty classic Dead Space. Also shooting, cutting of limbs and so on. It's now called Callisto Protocol, but it's basically Dead Space just named differently. It also comes to Steam, Xbox, PlayStation 4 and so on, so it's also multi-platform. Not an exclusive. I think there was like an extra gore scene at the end where the dude dies or whatever. Yeah, we don't need to watch that. But yeah, it's kind of intense. That was this year. Callisto Protocol. Yeah, here he says like, here's another scene with how the dude gets basically sucked into a spinning thing and then just dies. It's pretty unfortunate. And yeah, next is the Call of Duty trailer. Not much I can say about it. I can already spoil my thoughts on that. But let me just, before we continue, just double check the sound. Okay, it kind of works, I guess. Could be a bit more crisp. Is there anything I missed? Yeah, next trailer. Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2. Next trailer. Not sure if there's music there, might be, so let me shut up for a moment.
Eyes in the ring.
Alright, that's our target. Shadows 1 and 2. Push to your hook points. Let's invite ourselves in.
All stations, ship is visual.
Copy. Prep for assault. Stay on comm. We board, clear, disarm that missile.
Be ready for anything. This could be a trap.
Actual, we're set.
Copy. Get to work.
Good hook. Up and at him.
All Shadows, the missile is on this platform. I want full containment. You've got 3 AQ internal.
2-1, making entry.
Someone cut right clear through it.
clear. Coming out.
Shadow 1 moving to the southeast stairwell.
Squatters, right side.
Two above. Balcony door undone.
Ghost, we're moving to the main deck. What's your status?
Boarding the ship with Shadow 3 now.
Roger that.
Man down! Rush out! There's no one here.
We need to move fast. All Shadows, force out. I want eyes on that container now. 2 copies, moving. We gotta roll. Shadow 1, Ghost. Visual on flares coming from the ring. What's your status, over?
Ghost, they're signaling the ship. They're gonna launch that missile.
It's first stage. There's still time. All Shadows. Missile is on the helipad. 2-1, we're moving to secure. Cover us. 2 copies all.
Clear.
Actual, this is Shadow 1. Big secure. Moving on the container now.
Roger that. Confirm when the objective is neutralized.
Open.
Where are the controls?
On that damn ship. Actual, we got a problem. Missile is armed. Controls are somewhere on the ship.
You have your orders, son. Stop that launch.
Let's move out! Go! This is 0-1, back in the water, inbound, to your position!
Solid copy, we're taking effective fire. The LZ will be hot.
Roger that! Once we're on deck, we push to the bridge! Fast! Secure those controls to stop this vessel, yep! How do we board? Take the ramp! Hold tight, Sergeant! Let's have ourselves a gunfight! Missile controls are on the bridge! Have to stop the launch!
Okay. Cool, let's have the moving stuff on the... I like that.
Astro, maintain Overwatch from the rig. We're forcing up. Copy that. Moving.
Reloading.
They're forcing up. I'm moving.
Containers are the only cover we have.
Just don't get caught between them. Hurry up. Visual on the bridge. Talk to
Actually, don't!
Course right! Shadow 1, the missile's for Toronto. How far are you from the bridge? This is 1! We're pushing towards the entry now! Copy that.
Wow.
They closed off the bridge entry. Secure the check and we'll blow the door!
Visual on bridge entry.
Clear! Check it. Controls are internal. Alright, stand back! Shadow 1 going explosive on bridge entry. 3, 2, 1, execute!
Pre-order now and get early access.
Question is, was this a different trailer than we looked? It was a gameplay trailer. It also said Summer Game Fest, so it must be the new one. Wasn't there a section about this other dude that reappears? Well, I don't mind. Yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, oh, that was wrong. It's, I guess, Call of Duty perfected the idea of a rail shooter, basically just putting it, you can of course move around and so on, but it's still very like a shooting gallery, if you know what I mean. At least the single player stuff. So this we already saw. Let me just turn out the sound here. I swear there was also something more than this. Wasn't there the ghost dude with the ghost mask, or was this a different trailer? I can't remember. It's too long ago. Oh, I just overrode the Summer Game Fest trailer, I guess. Doesn't matter too much. Maybe we can watch it here. Pretty big stage here. I just could remember a scene that it's not here. But I see the mask of the ghost dude. Maybe it was here in this short trailer section or so. Maybe, I don't know. Kind of strange. I haven't really played Call of Duty much in the past. Just can't remember. Wasn't there something more to it? Was it just the pictures in the background? I remember that though. It's so wrong. Because don't have to watch every trailer. I can't remember. I have to admit, now my memory gets a bit blurry. This was the Last of Us stuff. Here was a rock. It was the new Batman game. Whatever that was. Was it Batman? No, it was something different. I forgot what it was. This here might be yeah, this was the add-on for Outriders, right? Yeah, I remember that. And this was like a little ad campaign for what was it called? Don't know the thing. Black Adam. It's starring this guy here. Or Soulless. Or what that was. Oh, Flashback gets like a remake or whatever. And then we saw like another trailer. Oh, this is Fall Guys. It's already out, like it gets something new. I don't know. Oh, this trailer here is kind of interesting. Maybe we look into this. The trailer itself is not that telling or interesting. I forgot the name though. Let me just see. It was called Stormgate. Let's have a look at this too. Shut up for a moment, maybe get something to drink. Be right back.
Discovery, this is Command. Storm's in your way. Prepare for extraction.
Signal's breaking up. Command, I'll do one last scan. See you soon. Over. Okay, hurry. Now we're talking. Command, I may be onto something. Repeat, I have it. Mission accomplished.
Doc, I've got this.
Glad you could make it.
We gotta move. Now. There's a storm coming. And hell's coming with it.
Okay, I'm back. That was Stormgate. Beta starts 2023. What's interesting, if you see this trailer, I found this trailer really strange. If you see this trailer, what game would you expect?
This is Command. Storm's in your way. Prepare for extraction.
Signal's breaking up. Command, I'll do one last scan. See you soon. Over. Okay, hurry. it. Mission accomplished.
Like, what game would you expect from this? Well, it is an RTS game. And it's by the guys who made StarCraft and other stuff, like it's explicit people making this. So it could be kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's not a bad trailer, I would say, but it's also not the most up-hyping trailer. There were some screenshots before. I'm not sure if it's on... Would it be in Steam? Oh, it's not Epic stuff again. It is already, there's stuff on Steam. And you can see, like, maybe I can bring up Steam here really quick. We can look at some stuff here from the trailer. Here's an actual screenshot from the... that looks more like in-game. So the art style is... they go away from this very... Excuse me, from this very dark sci-fi Warhammer 40k inspired StarCraft style, I guess. Now, I guess Warcraft was also more colorful in contrast. That makes sense, but not that colorful, I have to admit. And yeah, I don't know exactly how this works. Like, you have some units, you control them, you have like the top-down view. Really hard to say where they are going with this. Really hard to say. But the trailer definitely would not have, like, there was this whole section about, I guess it's maybe very story and story point focused, if that makes sense. Like, you have this woman, she extracts like a shield or something, like an artifact for reasons, and these weird demon dudes arrive, and they're pretty insane and strong. And we have this robot coming up and fighting with it. It can like fly away or so. I know, it's a really weird trailer. I'm not sure what they want to say. Like, you do missions, extract, and then you have different kinds of units or so. I don't know what they want to say with this trailer. So it makes, for my taste, not too much sense. But yeah, what do I know, right? There was Fall Guys, it was this trailer, Stormgate was interesting to see. Like, what is most interesting is this game was kind of interesting to see. This trailer also looked not bad. Maybe we can watch this trailer. A sneeze. Excuse me. Yeah, this trailer is only in 720p. Well, it's from the show, so then we can also just watch it here directly in the VOD. World premiere, of course.
As well as High Water Pirate Radio, keeping you in the know with our flow. Alphaville authorities continue to deny false rumors that Alphaville elites are planning to evacuate to Mars. True or not, the one thing we can't deny is that the world ended on a sunny day.
Uh-oh, music. Oh, that is very cool soundtrack. Music could be for sure play. I'm not sure. So maybe we just skip through it. I have to say the art style looks pretty neat. It seems like you're on the boat, you go around, the world kind of ended, everything's full of water now, and you have to explore the world and have like a little story or so. It seems like you also control multiple people, maybe don't have different abilities or so. Not sure what the gameplay there might be, but it looked kind of interesting. Goat Simulator, yeah, it was new Goat Simulator. Then we had Midnight Suns. Oh, and the new Cuphead game thing. Like it's a new season, maybe it's a DLC or so for Cuphead. That's also pretty neat. Not sure if there's footage for it. There is. Pretty difficult game. But everything is hand animated. It takes like forever to do. But yeah, this is just a classic Cuphead boss.
Cuphead. It's
Pretty neat. Next trailer. This also looked kind of cool, but it's definitely not my cup of game.
hell.
The soundtrack. It's hard, like has this anime style thing here. A lot of movement stuff. Crazy, I don't know. Not sure if that's too interesting. New Warframe thing, I have no idea about Warframe, so can't comment on that. Is even Warframe here still? Probably it's a different game already. Oh, that is what was it called? Star Hack or something? Star Rail, yeah. Something with Star. Not my cup of tea either, I guess. Maybe it's good. What was that? Blender Zone 0. Hey. New Turtles game. Not sure when this will come out. Let's see. Nice pixel art style. Casey Jones. Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo was one of my favorite games of all time, still is. Haven't played it in quite some time though, but that was pretty awesome. Maybe they can redo this. You can play with 6 players, that's kind of a lot of chaos on your screen, I feel. Local and online, I think it said. But this must be insanely busy. However, you don't have to play it with 6 people. You can just play it with 2 and then probably it's completely fine. That's maybe just an option and you can say, yeah, nice to have. So this is a robot. They also are in Turtles in Time. So Turtles in Time Shredder's Revenge. Pretty nice to see, but it was already, like, we have already seen stuff for it. Oh, it comes out in 5 days. Wow. Chess game. What was that game? Can't remember that. Humankind thing might be awesome. That's the complete Humankind trailer. Also, I think the people making this were bought by Sega, so that's why it's Sega. Here we have One Piece stuff. Game Pass stuff. You have like this weird metal game. I'm not sure. Some of the stuff was made for this, but I don't know how it works exactly. Just due to music problems on YouTube. You just ignore it. Is this, I assume, is this done by the Quarry? I'm not sure if it's done by the same studio that does the Dead by... No, what was it called? Until Dawn? I think Until Dawn. Supermassive Games. Yeah, it seems like it is by this. Until Dawn is by Supermassive. Right? Yeah, it is. So it's the Until Dawn people. That's their next game. It's basically like a cheesy 80s, 90s horror movie with teenagers film. And you have like decisions and consequences and so on.
Lets you impact things.
It has multiplayer, which is a very interesting spin on that. Nightmares. Layers of Fear. Look, not too bad, but I'm not too much into horror. Oh, we could look into Layers of Fear.
Trapped in this house, bound by this body. Now?
Into wish list. Yeah, interesting. Like there was one scene I remember that looked relatively decent, I have to admit. This one here. I think it's also Unreal Engine 5 already. Doesn't look too bad. But yeah, not too hyped up about all this.
So, can it?
This world down there. Gotta use that.
This was the Last of Us stuff. Part 1. Comes for PC. I think that's a big announcement, basically. So they now bring their other games for PC. Cool. Available. It's basically a PlayStation 5 version of it or whatever. I'm not sure if it's just a remaster again, or if they did more than just few cosmetic things and just, I don't know. Can't really tell. Not too much into The Last of Us either. Will also come for PC. That's probably kind of cool that it's available for multiple platform stuff. Oh yeah, now we have also the a cute little indie show that came after it. Was also interesting.
New game.
So let me just check if I missed important stuff that came out today or so. Homeworld is delayed. And this is an interesting trailer, to be honest. We can watch this. There was also the Devolver show. Devolver Digital is a publisher for indie game stuff, and they showed this game here, which looked really cute. Very interesting idea and style. Reminds a bit of... we'll talk about it in a moment.
Once upon a time, there was a plucky squire named Jot. Jot roamed the land in search of adventure, battling beasts, helping the helpless, and generally being very heroic. But then, one day, he discovered something rather curious. A world he never knew existed.
And yeah, you see,
one day, he never.
You can also enter these objects and then return to the TD thing. Like here. Now you play in this on this coffee in this teacup and on this box here, and yeah, it's almost a bit reminiscent, maybe spun a bit more than what you have in Mario Odyssey. There's also like a somewhat similar mechanic, but it's kind of cute and very interesting idea. The visuals are also pretty on point, I have to admit. It comes for PC too, for PlayStation 5, for the Switch, and so on, and for all the platforms. Pretty awesome by Devolver, as you can see, the digital publisher for some usually very solid indie games, or what you would consider indie games. Like, they bring this stuff here, but it's yeah, pretty neat. Art style and so on, it's pretty impressive. There's showed like Cult of the Lamp, where we have seen it like 20 times already. Oh, there was not really much new. Angerfoot, yeah, that was also kind of a funny trailer, I have to admit. I will watch that too. Devolver showed it was really fun this year too. Looked it already. We can recommend it. And they showed some few game stuff. Soundtrack is also like intense. We have to reduce the music. Not sure if it's copyrighted or not. But yeah, the name is basically the program. You can also use both foot, which is kind of funny. Both your feet. Well, this dude is kind of green. Not sure what's going on with him exactly. Maybe he has no arms or so. Well, he's also driving with his foot. He has arms, he holds just something in it. Name is kind of fitting though. Absolutely weird stuff, but why not? We didn't like the plucky Squire. Was a game we watched before. Let me see, what else is there left? Oh. Street Fighter. Oh, there was an interesting little tweet we got. Street Fighter 6 uses rollback netcode, a lot of people are asking. So yeah, he is the editor of, managing editor of GameSpot. Creative director of Giant Bomb. And yeah, so seems somewhat credible. And it has rollback netcode, which was to be expected, but they did not explicitly announce it, which is strange in my opinion. Because these days that is a very important thing. We talked about rollback netcode, but it's basically like there's one implementation of rollback netcode called GGPO. Good Game Peace Out, I think is that's the abbreviation. What do you call it? I have to consult the Cambridge Dictionary. Can't say it. Just have to hear it. So let's consult the Cambridge
abbreviation.
Abbreviation. That's how you say it. Yeah, that's the abbreviation. The abbreviation stands for that. And yeah, what it basically does. Now back to Street Fighter, I guess. One of the first things here we saw. So what it basically does is the rollback netcode. What it basically does is there are different ways to implement. The problem is if you play against another player, the data, your inputs and the synchronization of the game needs to be data needs to be sent from one computer to another for this to work, and there's a delay between it. So how do you deal with the delay? Some games just basically place in like a base delay that is high enough to basically cover a lot of cases and synchronize it that way. Though it's delay based, so every time you press a button, there's a small delay, and it's kind of annoying for people when your inputs and so on always come out with a little delay. It would be ideal if that would not be the case. However, that's one implementation. Rollback netcode, though, has a different approach. That's delay-based netcode. And like GGPO basically works like this. So you need a game that is able to jump back in time a bit, so to say, inside the game. And basically rewind a little bit. And what the game then does is it just pretends. It predicts the future, basically, or it pretends what happened last is what will happen in the next frame too, and then just pretends it's going to this direction already. And the good thing about this is a lot of times the game is right. I guess you could maybe modify this in some way and say, yeah, basically the next frame is the next frame of this attacker. So I'm not sure how it is implemented exactly. There's also like some, in addition, maybe 1 or 2 frames additional buffer or so for it. So there are multiple variables that you can modify to give a good experience. However, if the game guesses the next frame wrong, then it just rewinds the frame and does that what was actually happening, and it's also synchronized this way. So this sounds like terrible, but considering that these small changes and rewinds only happen like at very specific points, at very specific frames, you don't really notice it. And the good thing about it is, because the game always predicts like kind of the future, if that makes sense, even if you have very high latency, like your data needs a lot of time to travel from your computer to another person, even as far from here to somebody sitting in the United States, I'm in Central Europe in case you wonder, then the game basically plays like you are playing almost locally. That's not exactly how it feels, but the netcode is just vastly superior to delay-based netcode in a nutshell. Like, it's very stable, it works in a lot of setups. You have to really get weird results, you have to push it to the absolute extreme. But in a range of just like, I don't know, 100, let's say 0 to 100 or 200 milliseconds, this netcode just works much, much better. That is it's really wide variety. And in addition, you can, like on Guilty Gear, I tried and I played people from the United States, and I had like a latency towards them like 150, 170 milliseconds, which is quite a lot. Like, ideally you want to have something around 10 or 20, maybe even below 10 in a best case scenario, milliseconds. And we are talking about like 15 times as much. So, yeah, then on delayed base and so on, it would become noticeable and annoying. On rollback netcode, though, it played really well. Like, it was perfectly fine and playable. That is pretty awesome. But it also, like, there's a bit more, I guess, to this netcode. It feels almost like magic, I have to admit. Like, the delay and the crispness of this netcode and how it plays is just so good and gives a really good online experience for fighting games. And, yeah, there some Western games implemented this a long time ago, like Killer Instinct, for example. But Japanese, the land where the fighting games are usually the best and most popular fighting games are coming from, like Street Fighter, like Smash Brothers, like Tekken. So Calibur's maybe not currently that popular, but I really like it and it's also pretty good. But they technically all don't, most of them, except for Street Fighter, also afterwards implemented like a rollback netcode style thing, which is also not perfect, the implementation, but it's a different story, I guess. Still probably better than the other stuff. Usually the Japanese developers don't want to implement it for whatever reason. It seems like now that Guilty Gear, which is like a classic anime fighter, also quite niche in a way, even though it's one of the more popular niche fighting games, if that makes sense. And Guilty Gear Strive implemented a very, very good netcode version from this, and was praised highly. And now people expect that this basically also motivates other fighting game developers in Japan to implement netcode like this. And now it seems like we got a confirmation that there is rollback netcode also for Street Fighter 6. Sorry. That's pretty good. Even though it was to be expected, and it would be a scandal almost if they would not have went for this route. But yeah. Now that they are doing this, we feel less concerned, I guess. Like Stormgate, we already talked about that. Is that it's a new game by Blizzard. You definitely see it doesn't have the trailer. If you compare this to, I guess, a smaller studio and so on, I get this. But if you just compare the art style, the visuals, everything to what like the classic Blizzard game does, you definitely see the difference. Like, however, it would be, I guess, for an RTS to be enough if it just plays very well, and seems maybe like a very cool and fresh approach to RTS strategy, or maybe it's just a really, really solid RTS game. Even that would be enough, because there's so little RTS games going on for quite some time. But I feel like competing with what Blizzard can do, even though some of the talent went off and it's not working anymore for them, still a thing to consider now, that especially since Microsoft has bought Blizzard, and as a result maybe Microsoft is interested in new strategy games. The reason we also brought out Age of Empires 4, which was also pretty good, I think. Even though the hype of Age of Empires 4 might have died a little bit again, but yeah, it probably it has to do with the time it took this studio who made Age of Empires 4 to get some changes out, some balance stuff and so on. Maybe also new content and so on. Makes it always a bit difficult for the hype to be maintained. If you feel like, okay, at a very high level and a lot of talk is about this, you feel like a disadvantaged compared to others. Some of the stuff was just broken, like France with their big ships and advantage that they basically got, and so on every water map like, if you did not play France, you basically had or if you played France, you had like a huge advantage. It was really, really difficult to play against this because the tech advantage that France got was just so strong. Then they had to basically nerf ships and balance it out better. But that took some time, and that maybe also put some players off. It's really unfortunate. Still a solid game and solid single player, I guess. But I think to keep the longevity of a game, you definitely need this competitive scene being happy, and always difficult to achieve. When you then take like weeks or months to fix like an issue like this, it becomes problematic. I guess it's the same with Battlefield 1942. I thought it was not that bad, but it was problematic in that regard that it had the problem and no new content, no new maps and so on, and came now they just announced a new map, 2 new vehicles, a new class, I want to call it. What the name was of those. And what else? Some weapons. So pretty basic stuff. And the game is out for 7 months or so. I can't remember when it came out. November? Yeah, 7 months. And pretty little for 7 months, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to try the new Battlefield stuff, by the way, and the balancing stuff. We didn't do this. I'm not sure where I installed it. If it's on the wrong hard drive, that might be a problem. Also, where's my mouse? Here it is. No. I have to admit, I'm really, really tired. Speaking of tired, there's also Sifu. I hope it comes to Steam at some point. I'd like to play that too, but sounds like a typical game to get really salty about. Probably my cup of tea. Difficult, challenging game. Can be quite frustrating, but also very rewarding if you master it. I just saw an article about why Elden Ring PvP is dying faster. It's just too much weird stuff in it, and I think it feels as a result a bit off at times. Netcode's still terrible. There were some builds that are just better, and some weapons that are just so strong that it's always problematic if you have like a weapon or an attack or something, and just learning how to dodge this or dealing with this weapon is just far more skilled than, or needs far more skill and ability and consideration than just playing the weapon and hitting the button. Like the Rivers of Blood sword comes to mind. Like, you can perfectly counter it and do stuff against, but it takes more to do this than just playing your build and playing better than the enemy, just because it's just so good at everything. Yeah, another point is of course that the rewards, and that's true, it's a good point I'm reading here. Another good point is that the rewards that you get in Elden Ring for winning your PvP match are just so minimal, like, why even bother? PvP system is a bit gutted, I think, too. Let me see what other thing was here. Lucky Squad, that was pretty neat. If Gerstmann is leaving Giant Bomb, that is unusual because he is basically Giant Bomb, but he's doing other content now, I guess, on Twitch and so on. I think that was basically the most might be some cool indie games that we have seen. Like if we go to the show here, let me just see. I also watched that. But basically this is Stardew Valley from Argentina.
Develop the ideas that shape humanity.
Instead of using money, you'll transform the world around you by contributing and working with your clan. Discovering plants were the cornerstones of early civilizations like farming.
You can ride a llama, so pretty cute.
Ideas will build on one another, and after a while, you'll find your community transformed. You'll get to know your clan. Started with the first Harvest Moons, a contribution to the genre.
No, Harvest Moon. Stardew Valley. It's called Rufus of Pacha. That's how I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Paca, maybe it's Pacha. Not sure. There's a demo for it. But probably a game that's too relaxing, not salt-inducing enough for me, so it's probably not for me. So yeah, they showed all kinds of games. They also show this interesting other game. No, I remember now. That was the digital Devolver thing.
Flow.
Pretty cute, like the art style. But this is very indie. Nayat. Not sure if it's a mermaid. No, it's not really a mermaid, but you swim and environmental influences that also have influence on you and so on. There's some interesting mechanics here and there. Pretty interesting game. But as I said, it's insanely indie. And this weird game with the bear, the bear in the park or whatever, and you have to do stuff. There might be a grim secret with it. beer and breakfast. Yeah, it's a bear that has a bear and breakfast. I always want to say beer for whatever reason. Maybe it is beer, not bear. Yeah, it's probably, I don't know, chat. English is complicated. The German pronunciation is bear.
Bear.
Is bear in English too, okay. Bear. Bear. Good to know. So yeah, there is that. This also looks kind of interesting.
Her sister that has been taken away by an invading robot army.
Invading robot army, I like.
Early on in the game, Lana meets the mystical creature Mui.
This we already saw somewhere, right?
A strong bond and friendship to Mui, and she proves to be both intelligent and loyal. Being her own personality, Mui also has things that she's afraid of. But being small and agile also has its advantages. For example, being able to reach places that you can't. She also has this special ability she can use to control some of the strange creatures of this planet. Harsh and together, you have to make it through both the harsh and beautiful environments of Novo. Past dangerous robots, through deep and cold caves, unraveling long-forgotten mysteries that all lead to your destined future.
Planet of Lana, yeah, that was the name. We saw this before.
Lana is really a labor of love, and we're very excited here at Wishfully to bring you what we believe is a truly unique adventure. And beyond the companion-based puzzle solving and hand-painted art style, you will experience an engaging story with twists and turns that hopefully Xbox at Planet of
It also comes for Steam and for Xbox. Where did we see this though? It was like some show we watched together and I said, oh, look at this, that looks awesome. Maybe it was one of the Xbox presentations we recently have seen. No, I think I already wish listed the game too. Yeah, it's on my wish list already, so can't wish list it more. But that looked pretty good. It's supposed to come out this year.
Shooter. Lana is coming to Xbox and PC long after the credits have rolled. Please write. Planet of Lana is coming to Xbox and PC with you long after the credits have rolled. Planet.
It says this year, but I'm probably not true, so there's that. So yeah, there was also kind of a neat little trailer we saw. Okay, is there another trailer we want to see? Wait, it was the Dog Kicker one. Angry Foot, not Dog Kicker. Resident Evil 4 stuff we already watched, right? There was not more, there was only the Street Fighter trailer. Can't believe that Street Fighter's off a year still, or maybe half a year, whatever. I'm not sure when it will come out. It seems like beyond that there's no news. Only that that God of War comes. The next one comes November or so. Yeah. It seems to be like a little leak or so. Comes November, maybe. Overwatch 3 has been delayed till the first half of 2023. The Lord of the Rings games is still the biggest surprise to me, to be honest, but probably has to do with me just being very involved in the Lord of the Rings stuff. There was also another... Okay, maybe we watch this trailer. I haven't seen that one. It's got Plague.
On est un studio de développement indépendant.
Okay, it's just some presentation with cut, which is kind of nice, but it was 8 minutes.
Sur ce qu'il est en train de faire. Donc c'est à nous de pondérer.
Hey, this environment looks pretty beautiful, impressive. You know, they're in jail. Okay. Interesting. Leave a like. Yeah, but I think that is basically it for the trailer stuff. There will be Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, there is the Microsoft presentation. We will watch this if nothing comes in my way. Let's say if the new Amazon series trailer comes out, I would maybe catch up the other stuff later from the Microsoft presentation. But yeah, we now have the Microsoft Bethesda Activision presentation on Sunday, it seems. I'm very curious what this will mean. Not sure if they will even... if the Bethesda stuff and the Blizzard stuff will be huge there or not. I have no idea, to be honest. I'm very, very curious about this one. This might be a really interesting one after Microsoft just bought everything for, I don't know, Bethesda was like 7 billion and 62 billion or something, or 60 billion was paid for Activision Blizzard. It's just kind of insane to me still that Microsoft just bought this big studio. I have to admit, I'm not the hugest fan of this. As we talked about this in the past, it makes completely sense from the perspective of Microsoft, and it's a pretty good acquisition for them. Overall, I have to admit though that I'm not secretly, I'm not a big fan of it though, because simply, yeah, like if you have too many big companies fused to one company. That's usually not very good. Like, competition is always better, especially in this creative realm. where there's always some creativity needed, and I feel like it might not be good if so many big companies doing video games are now Microsoft exclusive. Like all the Bethesda stuff, all the Activision stuff in the far future, I guess. Maybe not. It's really hard to say how they will operate Activision Blizzard and the Blizzard stuff as well. As just quite a lot. Very curious what they are going to do with that. On the other side, it seems like Blizzard themselves seem to struggle internally a lot with just getting what people want and unleashing their full potential again, like they in the past often did. As a result, maybe for now the acquisition is good, also maybe good for us consumers, because Microsoft is still I'm not sure far behind, but at least somewhat behind Sony's sales. It's hard to say because I think Sony recently said they sold like 20 million PlayStation 5s or so, if I remember correctly. Microsoft hasn't stated how many Xbox Series they sold. Some sources say like round about 15 million or so. So quite a 25% behind. That's not that much compared to last generation, where it was just a slaughter what Sony did to Microsoft. But that's Microsoft's fault too. So I guess it's mainly Microsoft's fault. They did so many things wrong last generation that the Xbox One was never picking up enough steam, and just Sony steamrolled everything. It was pretty easy, and now they have a new direction and need to do new stuff. As a result, acquisitions and so on make completely sense and are fine in my opinion, but I think if we look into the far future, it might become a bit, I wouldn't say grim, but I don't think that is ideal to have these companies now integrated into Microsoft. But we have to wait up for Microsoft's policy on releases. If they would say, yeah, let's make Elder Scrolls 6 will be, let's say, Xbox Series and PC exclusive. I'm not sure if that's so great. Like, for sure, I'm mainly a PC player, so you could say I don't care, it's true, but on the other side, it is, unfortunate for all the people with prefer maybe Sony's console. Like, when such a big, like, Activision Blizzard was one of the biggest third-party publishers on this planet, and now it's just part of Microsoft. It's just kind of surreal still to me, to be honest, and we will see how well this will end up or not. But as said, competition is usually better. Like in the past, Activision Blizzard was also a competitor in a way, but also a company that provided games for Microsoft's platform, and now the competition aspect is a bit eliminated. That's my opinion, not too great, but that, as said, is a different topic. So, yeah, I have to say, overall, like for me personally, the most interesting part of the summer Game Fest thing here was definitely just seeing more about Street Fighter. I'm very curious how this game turns out. But we already knew it from the State of Play. There was the first bit of gameplay reveal. Now we have, of course, Guile here, which makes sense, I guess. Like the Summer Game Fest, Jeff Keighley and so on is definitely for the English-speaking market. I've gotten decently big, or maybe kind of a replacement for what the E3 was doing. Also, that might be interesting comment or interesting thought. What is the future of the E3? Like, I have to admit, I kind of miss the E3. Like, I like the idea that there's like this 1 week and everything is there. It's basically like we have it now. Like all these, it's not an E3 right now, but we have these conferences. They are roundabout in the same months or in the same, let's say, 2 weeks, and we see everything. But having it more compressed and so on, and all having it have this one place one time in the year every gamer looks up to, cool, then all the new games are announced and all the big stuff is happening. It was always pretty fun, always a bit cringe though, and some presentations were really good, some were really bad. We still have this aspect, so there were better presentations and not so good presentations, I guess. But yeah, I kind of miss it and hope it. E3 announced that next year they will be back with a actual physical what is it called? Convention, and that is next year though, not this year. Gamescom will be this year. I'm very curious how this will be. I'm not sure if I will attend because Gamescom used to be very, very full, and that is annoying for me at least. You could expect this, but Gamescom really took you can't go to Gamescom on Saturday or so. It's just so incredibly crowded. Like it's next level crowded. We have to consider that we still have a pandemic going on, even though now it seems very relaxed and chill and almost back to normal, but still there is one, and some experts fear that, or not fear, but already announced that in autumn stuff could get problematic again a bit. So we then look back at Gamescom, for example, and we have these largely crowded halls everywhere. That might be a bit annoying. Maybe I should just run the trailer here in the background while talking. Sorry for that. It's late. Oh, it's late and I'm tired. It was a long day. But yeah, I don't know. Street Fighter 6 looks interesting. I'm not 100% sold on the style, but the more I see it, the more I kind of start to like it. I'm just very curious how it will be and how it will play. Maybe I finally can get into Street Fighter a bit more. It would be pretty neat. What I like most is that they, and maybe this is, I'm not sure if it's controversial or so, but they announced that they have potentially Dragon Ball FighterZ already implement or announced a combo system that is easier. I have always trouble with these quarter circle, half circle inputs in both directions. That's the thing I always struggle with. That's why I like Soul Calibur so much. There are very few of those. There's some, and I don't mind some of them, but in this game they are so essential in a way that it becomes annoying. I'm not good with those. I noticed when trying to get a bit into Guilty Gear that sometimes, especially when the side switched, I suddenly started to not be able to do the quarter circle back or quarter circle forward that reliably. And some people say, yeah, it's not completely easy, but I simply personally struggle with that, even though I practiced the stuff for hours, and I still have not the consistency with it that I would need, or that I feel comfortable. I feel like the controls are holding back the fun a bit, and it can get pretty frustrating. It's also maybe a reason why I don't play it as much anymore. But maybe this new system gets a way to avoid this, and that would be pretty neat in my opinion. They could reduce this, because the idea behind the game I pretty much like. I like fighting games. That's why I played Soul Calibur for such a long time. But yeah, that's basically the Summer Game Fest. Not sure if I can add too much to it. So yeah, I'm not sure. What are we going to do next, chat? Not 100% sure. Because it's late, maybe I just end the stream, go to bed, and then maybe stream tomorrow and play some games or so. Though I have some other stuff to do outside of YouTube tomorrow too. I have to see how this works. Especially I have to get my copy process going. As said, one of my hard drives just slowly starts failing, so I bought a new hard drive which just arrived today. Now I have to try to get the remaining the data to the new hard drive, and then put it back into my and replace the hard drive. So far that's going semi-okay-ish, I have to admit. Because some of the copy stuff is just insanely slow, so it would take forever to copy all. I hope this might change in some way. But I'm really happy when this is done, because then my computer works a bit better, and I would pretty much like that. As a result, I'm a bit limited when it comes to what games we could play anyway, because I can't play games that are currently installed on this broken hard drive, and I haven't copied over yet, or I would have to need to re-download them. That takes, of course, time. That's like the biggest problem with this. But I really need to make sure that these all these games are kind of it's strange. That this stuff kind of works. That would be much appreciated. Currently, it's an absolute nightmare to access this hard drive. I notice as well copying. Sometimes the copy speed goes down to like, I don't know, 1 megabyte per second instead of like 150 that it should have. That's a problem. Let me just maybe open my Steam library. What could we play? Let me just see. We could look into Battlefield or something, because I always want to do that. I'm not sure. It is not on G installed, so Battlefield would be an option. I would have to update it, so maybe I can do this really quick. Probably stupid idea doing this while streaming. Also, you see like a black screen now, which is unfortunate. That would work. Elden Ring I have also not on my on this hard drive, so it's on a K1. Even on my SSD, to be honest. That would work. Soul Calibur, I'm not sure where I installed that, but I'm too tired to play Soul Calibur right now, to be honest. Just, there's no way. Oh, Soul Calibur would work too. It's also not on that hard drive, though. Also not sure where Overwatch is installed. It could be on G, to be honest. Also, I should stop saying to be honest, but it is interesting to see. Now, this was this with DC game. Was the other stuff. So the really, really big stuff might come later. I mean, we had the state of play. It also was pretty neat. You just see. Of course, it's not my. What on earth? Date of play, June 2022. We watched this last time already, so there's a VOD of it if you are interested. We had some VR stuff here. We had the Resident Evil 4 remake that looked pretty awesome. That was kind of big, to be honest. Hit it again, like, it's just too late. Some VR stuff. This looked kind of neat though, and don't intend to get PlayStation VR though, so not for me. Stray looked pretty good. It's also announced for a long time. I hope it's fun. I think it also comes for Steam. I think there was like a Steam page popping up recently. So we could play it on stream if you would want to. This was the thing here. This here. Yeah, we looked last time into it. Interesting. It was by the Sable people. Then here we had the Street Fighter thing again. This time we also saw some open world stuff. There was this one sequence where the person like this, where you see your avatar, which you can, I guess, create, runs through the world and, I don't know what, do dragon punches it seems. And also a challenge, for example, this dude here, and then you fight him. We saw some characters and so on. Pretty cool stuff. What show? What the other? This is Game with a Fox. But this game also looked pretty cool. Forgot the name though. Let me just some seasons, right? Season, a letter to whatever. A letter to the future. Yeah, that looked pretty indie, but also kind of interesting. Then we had the Final Fantasy 16 stuff here at the end. Very curious how that will be. I have to admit the the combat. I guess I'm getting old. Like this JRPG stuff doesn't kick me anymore. Everything here feels like I've seen it a million times. Like, I don't know why. It might be very good, and people might potentially will like it a lot. Especially the Final Fantasy 14 people are working, at least parts of them, on this, and they have just such a good reputation when it comes to this. And the animation also looks pretty fantastic. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, something is simply like, I look at this and it does not get me excited or anything. It's just, yeah, whatever. I'm kind of I'm probably dead inside or so. I'm not sure. In theory, it should hype me or at least get me somewhat curious, but completely not. That was Final Fantasy 16, in case people wonder what this trailer footage here was. Not this, but animated stuff. Let me see. What does my... Currently it seems connection is still stable, even though I'm downloading the update. Okay, it's downloaded, but the process of applying the update is for whatever reason insanely slow. What happens if I just pause this here? Maybe it makes it faster? No? Very strange. Then we could at least maybe play a round or two. See what has changed for Battlefield. Okay, strange. Maybe it has to do with maybe Steam is installed on the drive. No, it probably has to do with Windows having trouble accessing the hard drive. This basically slows down all the what do you call it? Your file system transfer stuff and so on. It's just all over the place. Maybe we need to reboot or so. It's not on E. Strange. Don't know exactly what the problem is then. Okay, I know why. It has trouble switching. Okay. Kind of annoying, I have to admit. Not sure what's going on with this hard drive. I really need to replace it, but I also need the data from it. That's the biggest problem. I would just replace it. The problem is the data on it. I just need to save it. I think the most important stuff I have backups of anyway, but it's still kind of annoying. Not gonna lie. Currently, my system has a lot of trouble accessing this hard drive. And doing so, of course, slows it a bit down. But luckily enough, most stuff of it is just video games and so on. Oh man. Come on, Steam, just start. What's wrong with you? I really need to restart my computer. Very curious. It seems like it has like simply a lot of trouble. Because Steam also has to access, I guess, Drive G to do anything. It's currently simply not working too well. Okay. Currently the update seems to work. At least for Battlefield. I have to download some REST data. Well, we just let the trailer run a bit, so we have at least something going on. Creative business, that's funny. Now here with these soldiers, the impact of hits seems to be much more given than versus what we have seen in this other scene. You can also juggle them up, so it's almost like some said Devil May Cry-ish. But like this dude. Here it seems to not have the same effect. Same with this dude. You know what I mean? He's spinning far too much for this to be so unimpactful. Okay, it updated, so maybe we can just look a bit into it so we have something done. So enough funny pictures I wanted to save. Just get rid of this here. Do we need this? Probably not. Just close it. Just need this, right? Yeah.